reluctant to fight due to 4 major reasons. What are the 4 reasons? Out of compassion, out of the fear of sinful activities, loss of enjoyment, and then destruction of family tradition. I know it's been little longer. That's why I thought let me just go through this. So destruction of the family tradition. So Arjuna was reluctant to fight and he accepted Krishna as his spiritual master because the talks between the friends is not considered to be very serious. Then Krishna started speaking to Arjuna, and the very first lesson Krishna gave to Arjuna is, we are not the body, we are the soul. And he gave a beautiful analogy, Dehinosmin yata dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara tata dehantara prapte dhiras tatrana mukhyati. While we are living, we see our body is constantly changing. So similarly, at the time of the death, the soul leaves one body and takes another body. Therefore, Arjuna should not be reluctant to fight. As actually speaking, we cannot kill anyone because our real identity is the soul. So that doesn't mean that we can kill anyone. Saying that we cannot kill anyone, that is also not authorized. Wherever we are authorized to do that, we can do so. In this case, Arjuna is a Kshatriya, and to establish dharma, they can kill people. Like the soldier is allowed to kill in the war. But can the soldier, if he has misunderstanding with the neighbor, can he kill that person? If he kill the person, then he will be convicted. He will not be given a Paramveer Chakra. But if he's killing in the war, if he's killing a very strong opponent, then he is awarded, right? He's been glorified. But the same soldier, if he's killing the neighbor, he'll be convicted. He may be a recipient of Paramveer Chakra, but killing a person without unauthorized will not be allowed. And then Krishna is speaking about 2 dharmas. What are the 2 dharmas? Swadharma, the duty to our own varna and ashrama. Another is parodharma. Parodharma is our duty towards Krishna, because we all have our eternal relation with Krishna. Mamaivamsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. Krishna says that we are all his part and parcel. Manashishtani indriyani. But why we are struggling? Because of our mind and senses, and our uncontrolled senses, we are not able to understand that we are the part and parcel of Krishna. We are all his eternal servants. Jivera Swarupa Hoy, Krishnera Nityadas. So by doing Parodharma, by serving Krishna, what happens? We re-establish our relation with Krishna. Love comes with service, even with the family members. If you want to gain their love, you have to serve them. Just by saying, I love you, beta, I love you, can it fill the stomach of the child? Can it fulfill the necessity of the child or anyone? So by service, the love comes. So if you want to love God, many people say, I love God. Okay, you love God, but what have you done for God? Kuch karna bhi hai na? We have to do something, right? When you say, you love your child, are you not taking care of your child's needs? So Krishna is saying in Bhagavadgita, Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam Yome Bhaktya Prayachati. One who offers me flower, fruit, water, leaf with devotion, I will accept. And he also says, Yat karoshi yad ashnashi yad juhoshi dadati yat tapasyasya tat kuru mad arpanam. Whatever you're doing, whatever austerity, whatever charity, whatever food that you're, everything you first offer it to me. So Krishna is asking us to do everything for him. So if that is what Krishna is expecting us to do through Bhagavad Gita, because he wants us back home, back to Godhead. Therefore, he is giving us the ways in which we can reestablish our relation with him. So we need to do some seva, some service to Krishna. And the easiest service which each and every one of us can do is chanting the holy name
Hare
of
Rama.
Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare, Hare Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Rama, Hare
Ram
Rama,
Ram, Hare
Rama
Hare.
Rama,
Any
Hare Hare.
place, any time. Mahaprabhu has said, Namnamakari Bahuta Nija Sarva Sakti Tatrarpita Niyamita Smarana Ena Kalaha. So there is no kala. Anytime you can say, you can chant Hare Krishna in the dead night. You can chant Hare Krishna in your bed. You can chant Hare Krishna in your bathroom. You can chant Hare Krishna anytime, any place. You can chant Hare Krishna even without brushing your teeth, if there is no situation for you to brush your teeth, right? So, what is stopping us from taking out the names of the Lord? Nothing is stopping us. So, such an easy process Krishna has given us, right? Of all the service, chanting of Hare Krishna is the most easiest and the most effective. Krishna says, Kalikale Namarupe Krishna Avatar. People ask, there are so many mishappenings in the society now. When Krishna says, Paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya cha dushkrita, he comes to vinasha, to distract the miscreants. But there are so many miscreant activity happening today in this world. Why is the Lord not coming? But he has already come in the form of his holy name. Krishna, in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, has given us the holy names. So all we need to do is to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. By doing so, each and every one of us can go back home, back to Godhead. In fact, Kalki Avatar, as described in Srimad Bhagavat Mahapuran, Kalki Avatar cannot do anything. People are so downtrodden that Kalki, he will just come and kill everyone. That's all. Because when, Buddhi is so bad, if you see a mad person, can you say anything to that person? Will anything enter that person? When you're nothing, when, no good thing can happen, then what can Krishna do? Because if he kills them, then they are going back home, back to God. He's just helping them, just by killing, he is helping them because he cannot he cannot help them by any other way. So should we wait until Krishna comes in the Kalki avatar and comes and slashes with the sword? Or chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, develop the love for God and go back home, back to Godhead, which is the most easiest thing, is to go back home, back to God. Right? So we have been taking life after life after life, several yugas, several kalpas, several years, several lifetimes we have taken, but still we are in this material world. The very reason that we are in the material world is showing that we are not able to remember Krishna at the time of death. Ante Narayana Smriti. How can you remember Krishna? If you cannot remember Krishna while we are alive, how can we remember Krishna at the time of death? It's very difficult. Life is a preparation. Death is a final examination. For the examination, we need to prepare. If a student goes to the exam without preparation, can the student pass in the exam? Anybody can do exam. You have to pay the fees and you can go there and sit for the exam. You can appear for the exam. But who will clear the exam? The one who has prepared. So for this, when death is an examination, our life is a preparation. So therefore, we have to do parodharma. And then Arjuna is asking very beautiful question. How is a person who is Sthita Prajna? Sthita Prajna means a person who is completely Krishna conscious, not partially Krishna conscious. How does he act? How does he talk? How does he sit? How does he walk? How does he control his senses? And Krishna is giving very beautiful analogies in this particular section. The first analogy is giving is Kurmunganiva Sarvasha, like a turtle. What as a turtle does? Whenever there is a dangerous situation, it withdraws all its limbs within its shell. So similarly, a devotee, whenever there is a pratikul situation, a devotion that is not favorable, a situation which is not favorable for devotion, what does a devotee do? He has to withdraw his senses. We just cannot be a part of it, right? Yeah. So if you're put in a situation where it is not favorable, just shut down your senses. Take out your senses. And then it is sometimes, artificially we can repress our senses, we can control our senses, but the desire to enjoy the senses will still be there. Example is like a diabetic patient may not take sweet because he's restricted, but the desire to enjoy the sweet will still remain. So similarly, how the desire for sense enjoyment can go from the person is param drishtva nivartate. By developing a higher taste, the lower taste will automatically go. Disappear. So without developing the higher taste, we cannot get out of our lower tendency. Yes. Therefore, it is important for us to develop how do we develop? By chanting the holy names, by hearing and by chanting, and by accepting prasadam. You offer whatever we cook, offer it with devotion and have it like a prasad. Once our tongue is accustomed to honor the prasadam, then the lower tendency will automatically go away. See, once upon a time, I love chaats like anything. Chaat means it's one of my favorite dish. And, being in Mumbai, every inch of the place you can see, right? But now I'm actually getting an opportunity where I'm having a lot of access to eat these chaat. Previously, I had a desire, but living in the West, there was no much opportunity for me to take it as often. I have to prepare or, go to restaurants or somewhere and take. But now, after becoming Krishna conscious, that we cannot eat anything which is not offered to Krishna, I walk through all these chaat shops. But the desire to eat the chaat is not there anymore. Okay. If at all I really feel like eating, I make my own chaat. I offer it to Krishna and honor it as a prasad. Right? So it is seen because when our desire is only to serve Krishna, then the lower tendency will automatically go away. And then Krishna is also talking about senses are not so easy to be controlled. Even a man of discrimination can at times fall down. We saw examples of who? Vishwamitra Muni, Saubari Muni. They were all yogis. They were all trying to control their senses in a very austere manner. But still, what happened? They failed. They fell down due to some agitation. Right? So, but we also saw an example of a Krishna conscious devotee, a Sthita Prajna, who is Haridas Thakura. Twice he was tested. Once by a prostitute who was sent by one of the local zamindar. His name is Ramachandra Khan. He thought Haridas Thakura is a Muslim. How can he chant incessantly the names of Krishna? So he just could not tolerate that. Being a Muslim, how can he chant the name? So he sent a very beautiful prostitute to destroy his tapasya, to chanting. But she failed. In fact, she became his disciple. Devotee. And Maya Devi herself, Maya personified, once came to test Haridas Thakur. Imagine we are striked out, bowled out only by her agent, whereas she herself came. In spite of that, Haridas Thakur could not be test. He won the test. He could not fall. He did not become a prey of her. So that's what we see. A Krishna conscious devotee can suppress all his desire because his desire is only to serve Krishna. And we also saw about anger. When does the anger arise? The anger arises because dhyayato vishayan pumsa. When we are attached to the sense objects, when we are in what happens when we see the sense object and when we attach to that, then the unfulfilled desires, it becomes anger. And sometimes, even when the desires are fulfilled, you fulfill one desire, two desires come. And then it becomes an anger. And what happens when a person becomes angry? He is completely in memory loss. We saw, if at all we are going through the case study of the people who have done murder, not everything is a planned murder. More than 50% of the murder happens because of anger. Not that person really intend to kill the other person. Just because the anger is so high that you cannot check upon it and you end up killing a person. And imagine, Once a person does a murder of other person, his life is completely gone. No other way for a person to come back, right? So how the anger can become so disastrous, right? Sometimes we see in the newspaper, the husband kills the wife kills the husband, the child kills the parent kills the child. If you see the newspaper, are we not reading all these newses? Yeah. So this is how the anger can do.
Hare
And
Krishna Mataji.
yes.
Mataji, like you just gave an example of Haridas Thakur.
Yeah.
Although he was a Krishna conscious devotee, he was saved. But Mataji, when this, if you see in Srimad Bhagavatam that Diti, and Kashyap Muni's example. So
Mhm.
Kashyap Muni is also Gyani, he's also giving lot of knowledge to his wife, and he's telling,
Mm.
this time is not right to have
Correct, correct. Yeah.
sex
But it
and
happens
to have a
because of
child. But
providence.
no,
Yes.
no, he was also a devotee of Lord Shiva. He
Correct.
was telling, that he's our relative. At this
Yeah.
time, he's there, around with lot of
Mm.
food and everything.
Yeah.
But Mataji, but in Haridas Thakur case, that was some another Vaishyavritti lady. But
Yeah.
in that case, it was his wife who has been, serving him very
Yeah.
nicely and everything. So is
Mm.
it that case also, so that in that case he could not say no to his wife, but because he was attached to that relationship. But
Yes. Yes.
in Haridas Thakur, he was although Krishna conscious, but he was
Mm.
not attached to that person. He was only attached to his Lord Shri Krishna. But
Yeah.
somewhere people are so intelligent. But sometimes I was reading this prasang yesterday only. That's why I'm talking.
Mhm.
Although that Kashyap Muni is so intelligent, he's giving all this gyan, but he can't say no to his wife, although because she
Mhm.
has been serving him so
Correct.
faithfully,
So nicely.
so
So
nicely.
although he
So
knows, but he became, obligation was there for him to fulfill her desires.
So,
Another thing,
Mataji, in that
Mataji.
case, it is niyati also, na? When they
Yeah.
know everything, even
Mm.
Diti, later on she is saying,
Yeah.
but the Brahmin should not kill the son, the Vishnu only should kill
Yeah.
because that is will be a blessing for my sons. So
Correct.
it means isn't it a niyati in their life that it is happening this
Yeah.
to them?
Correct. Correct. Sometimes things happens because of providence. Like I think niyati is providence in English, I guess.
Okay,
Sometimes
okay.
some things has to happen. It was a desire of the Lord because he has already given
Correct, correct.
the this one Jaya and Vijaya somehow has to come.
Yes. So
So
it was
maybe this
niyati
is an
also,
arrangement.
both of
But
them are
at the
Gyani.
same time, we should also learn the lesson from that. One thing is the providence, another thing, this description in Bhagavatam is alerting us how
Yeah.
careful one should be. Like as you mentioned, Kashyapa Muni, in fact, he
Hmm.
was doing tapasya and he was also a devotee. But because
Hmm.
of the attachment to his wife, he could not say no, even though
Hmm.
he could see the impending danger.
Because he was seeing past, present, and future. He can see everything, and
Yeah,
he was
exactly.
telling
But he could
he
not
will be
say
doing
no
this.
because of the attachment.
Yeah,
Yes. But we were taking examples of Vishwamitra Muni and Saubari Muni who
yeah.
got attracted. There was
Got
no
it.
attachment. They got attracted because of the sense agitation. Like
Hmm.
Saubari Muni just saw two fish uniting.
Yes, yes.
And imagine seeing the fish, his senses got agitated. And he was too old. His back was bent, his teeth were loose, his hairs were gray. Such an old man he was.
So all these munis who were doing Ashtanga Yoga and everything, they were not fixed in Krishna
Yeah,
consciousness.
yeah.
So
There is a
you mean to
greater
say
chance for
because
them to
of that
fall down.
only वो भटक गए, आप ये कहना चाह रहे
Yes,
हो?
yes, yes, yes. We
तो
will see
भटक
that
गए क्योंकि वो
today.
स्थित नहीं थे अपनी भक्ति में.
Yes, yes, yes.
तो बात है
Okay.
जी, जो लोग अपने शिव जी भक्ति में भी स्थित हैं,
Mhm.
तो वो लोग भी भटक जाते हैं. खाली जो कृष्ण भक्ति में स्थित है वो लोग नहीं भटकते.
Yeah, that's right. But Shiv Bhakti also, there is a person who is worshipping Shiva, knowing his original position as a servant of Krishna. They go to a particular dham called Mahesh Dham, which is also an eternal dham. So actually, Shiva Tattva is a little complicated subject to understand. We will do
Yes,
that.
yes.
But there is some Mahesh Dham, which is also an eternal world like Vaikuntha. Maybe some other time we will discuss because now we are in this topic and that
Yes,
will,
Mataji. Yes, yes.
change our flow of the. thing.
Yes,
And we
yes,
saw that which devotee can get the complete mercy of Krishna? Raga Dvesha, who is free from attachment and aversion and who is able to follow the rules and regulation. That particular devotee will get a complete mercy of Krishna. And once the devotee get complete mercy of Krishna, what happens? Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanir asyopajayate. He is completely out of all the miseries, all the threefold miseries. He was not affected by anything that is happening in the world, neither by his mind, neither by other living entity, neither by the natural calamities. Right now, the weather is too hot. But there are devotees like Guru Maharaj, my Guru, he never uses electric fan. Even in 42 degrees heat, he still stay without electric fan because he just does not use it. But did that give him any discomfort? Did that stop him from writing books? Did that stop him from giving classes? Did that stop him from chanting? No. Because we can see from the life of these devotees how they are transcendental to this material miseries. Okay. And
Mataji or Guru Maharaj stays in mud house or like normal apartments like this in Mumbai?
no, he doesn't stay in Mumbai. Wherever he goes, he stays in the ashram. Wherever there is a situation which is favorable to him, like some places like in Salem, there is like a mud house kind of facility, but not everywhere, right? He goes everywhere. He's a sannyasi, right? He doesn't stay in one place,
Okay.
right? He goes to many places. Right now, he's at Manchester. He's not in India. He's in the West now.
Okay.
But the thing is, what I mean to say is, we can see, and several times I have already given an example of His Holiness Jai Prataka Swami Maharaj also. So we can see in person how these devotees who are fully Krishna conscious or transcendental to the material miseries. And what happened to the devotee of Ayukta, who is not connected to Krishna? He cannot have steady mind, he cannot have steady intelligence, and he cannot be peaceful. And if a person cannot be peaceful, then how can there be happiness? Ashantasya putam sukham. So that is another thing. And then we saw Krishna also gives another beautiful analogy. Even if one sense is roaming, is uncontrolled, just like a boat, what if there is a strong wind, what happens to the boat? The boat may be made very strongly. It is good enough to sail through. But what can a strong wind can do to the boat? It can take it to the opposite direction. It will change the direction. So similarly, even if one roaming senses can deviate us from our goal of going back home, back to Godhead. Our goal, what is our goal? To go back home, back to Godhead. Godhead. But if our senses is uncontrolled, if we are letting it loose, that particular senses will become a reason where we may get deviated from Krishna consciousness and we fall down. And then the who can restrain the senses? A person who can restrain the senses. Unless otherwise a person restrain the senses, he cannot attain steady intelligence. To become intelligent, steady means what? Always, not just one. Sometimes it so happens that some of us, we are steady on an Ekadashi day, we are steady on some auspicious day, but we are not steady on other days, right? Other days we think, okay, sola mala karna hai. Let me just do that. Ho gaya. Let me do whatever we want, right? But if a steady, intelligent person will see that every day is a important day. Every moment is to be given for Krishna. So he can do that. And then we saw in the previous class a very beautiful example of day and night. What is a day for a materialist is a night for a spiritualist. And what is a night for a spiritualist is a day for a materialist. And we see today, like many people, they are awake so much in the night, like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and they go to bed at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock on the weekends. But what does a spiritualist does? At 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, the time when it is dark, they wakes up. And another thing, how we can understand this day and night analogy is that a spiritualist is doing all the thing that is favorable for him to advance in Krishna consciousness. His life is to go back home, back to Godhead. Whereas a materialist, whatever activities he does, it is binding him more and more in the material world. Therefore, it is compared to day and night. So it may look, for example, a materialistic person also goes and buy vegetables. A Krishna conscious person also goes and buy vegetables. Externally, the activity looks the same. He will also cook. We will also cook. They are also eating. We are also eating. But what is the consciousness of that person and a Krishna conscious person? A Krishna conscious person buys vegetables, buys fruits, everything, so that he can offer it to Krishna for the pleasure of Krishna. And whatever remnants Krishna gives, we take it. And Krishna is so kind that even though he eats, he gives back everything to us. Because he is Purnam. He is Purnamada, Purnamida, Purnat, Purnamuchyate. In that case also we are not reluctant to offer it to Krishna. Imagine what we are giving if Krishna will eat completely and people will not give anything, right? In spite of he giving back everything, we are not offering him, right? That a materialistic person, he buys the same groceries, same vegetables, same fruits for his own pleasure. Like I see in the fruit shops, we see nowadays the mango season, right? They cut some mangoes and they keep it as a sample because people want to taste and they want to know that this fruit is sweet, then only they will get, right? Because they want to know if this fruit is sweet enough for them to eat. What does we do? We as a devotee, we know that it is not offered, so we cannot taste without offering to Krishna. Therefore, we don't taste. Maybe we take a sample, 1 or 2 mangoes. If we are buying from a new shop, let me offer once and see how it is. If it is good, we go the following day and buy more, right? That's what at least I'm doing these days. I just get 1 or 2 initially to check how it is. Because how can we eat the mango that is not being offered? So this is what the consciousness is there. Externally, the activities looks the same. But internally, if we see, they are completely opposite. The consciousness is totally different. So that is about the thing. Okay, so today's sloka is talking about the desires. Desires may not stop. Desires keeps coming. We cannot stop the desires. But how does a spiritualist, a Krishna conscious person, how he remains unaffected? Whereas a materialist, how he becomes affected with the constant flow of desires. This is also a very beautiful sloka, and it is one of the important slokas of the 108 slokas of Bhagavad Gita. So please pay attention to this sloka and try to understand what Krishna is trying to tell these through these slokas. And it's not just about hearing. After hearing, we should also try to contemplate in our own lives. Okay. Please repeat after me. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 70. Apuryamanam achalam pratishtam
अपूर्यमाणम् अचलं प्रतिष्ठम्
samudram apa pravishanti yatvat
समुद्रमाप प्रविशन्ति विद्य
तद्वत् कामयं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे
तत्त्वत्कामयं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे
स शान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामी
शान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामी
अपूर्यमानम् अचलं प्रतिष्ठम्
अपूर्यमाणम् अचलं प्रतिष्ठम्
समुद्रम् आप प्रविशन्ति यद्वत्
समुद्रमाप प्रविशन्ति यद्य
तद्वत् कामयं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे
तद्वत्कामयं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे
न शान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामी
स शान्तिराप्नोति न कामकामी
अपूर्यमानम् अचलं प्रतिष्ठम्
अपूर्यमाणम् अचलं प्रतिष्ठम्
समुद्रम् आप प्रविशन्ति यद्वत्
समुद्रमाप प्रविशन्ति यद्वत्
तद्वत् कामयं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे
तद्वत् कामयं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे
स शान्तिम् आप्नोति न कामकामी
स शान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामी.
Who wants to do this sloka?
Mataji, can
Please.
अपूर्यमानम् अचलं प्रतिष्ठम्
अपूर्यमाणम्
अपूर्यमाणमचलं प्रतिष्ठम्
अचलप्रतिष्ठम्
समुद्रमापा प्रविशन्ति यद्वत्
समुद्राप
समुद्रमापप्रविशन्ति
प्रविशन्ति
यद्वत्
यद्वत्
तद्वत् कामयं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे
तद्वत्
तद्वत्
कामयं
कामयम्
प्रविशन्ति
प्रविशन्ति
सर्वे
सर्वे
सा शान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामा
स
स
शान्तिमाप्नोति न
शान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामी.
कामकामी
कामी मैंने गलत बोला सा शान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामी
स शान्तिमाप्नोति न
न
कामकामी.
कामकामी
हरे कृष्ण
Hare Krishna. Word to word meaning.
माता जी कोई और पढ़ेगा आई डोंट हैव बुक
Uma Mataji, would you like to do?
Yeah. Apuryamanam, always being filled. Achala Pratishtam, steadily situated. Samudram, the ocean. Apa, waters. Pravishanti, enter. Yadvat, as. Tatvat, so. Kama, desires. Yam, unto whom. Pravishanti, enter. Sarve, all. Sa, that person. Shanti, peace. Apnoti, achieves. Na, not. Kama, kami, one who desires to fulfill desires. Translation you want me to tell?
Read, Mataji, you can read. Yeah.
A person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled but is always still, can alone achieve peace, and not that the man who strives to satisfy such desires.
Thank you, Mataji. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikas Swamiti Namini Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Desatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Apuryamanam achalam pratishtam samudram apa pravishanti yadvat. Samudram apa. So if you see the ocean, they get water from the rivers. Sometimes the ocean gets little more water. Sometimes the ocean gets little less
water.
But the water keeps coming. During the rainy season, the ocean receives more water. But even though the ocean is receiving more water, does the ocean overflow? Have you ever seen the ocean overflowing because it is receiving more water? It may happen during the storms, during the tsunami, like that, but not just because the ocean is receiving more water, it becomes more and it overflows. No, it remains, it doesn't go beyond its level. It remains fixed. So similarly, apuryamanam achalam pratishtam. So a living entity, so when he gets desires keeps coming. As long as we have a material body, the desires keep coming. We cannot be desireless. Tatvat kamayam pravishanti sarve. So, but what does a devotee? So he is not affected, even though the desires are coming to him, but he is not affected by those desires. Therefore, he is peaceful. Who is a person who is peaceful? A person who is not agitated by the incoming desires. Desires keeps coming, but he is not affected by it.
By those disturbs.
Na kama kami. But a person who is kami, a person who can be having a material desire, kama buddhi, because of material desires. Bhukti mukti is a person who performs austerities for material desires. We see many people, they perform very severe austerities because they want certain material desires to get fulfilled, right? We see people, when they worship some devatas, they go with the barefoot, they go with the hot pot, right? So they do several austerities. Therefore, they have some desires to get fulfilled, right? I know in Tamil Nadu, if you see, there is a festival, where they worship the Devi, the local Devi, Mariamman, they say. They put the big things, they put, what do you say, big steel stuffs, like, and then they carry the fire pot in their head and they walk in the coal of the fire. So they do all these severe austerities. But why they do? Because they have certain desires.
Desires
They
to
are
fulfill.
praying to the goddess, please, I'm doing these austerities to you, therefore fulfill my desires. They're not going out of devotion to her and doing this austerity because they have certain material desires. And there are some people like Gyanis. They also, through Jnana, they are trying to obtain, but they are also having desires because their desires is not completely purified, because there is some desire for liberation, Jnanis. Because of liberation, they are doing Ashtanga yogis. Siddhi yogis, what they do, they also do a lot of austerities because they perform some siddhi. Siddhis means what? Some people can walk on the water. Some people, siddhi, they can become smaller than the atom also. They become so small. So it so happened once during the British time, there was a Babaji who was roaming Nanga without any dress. So the British people, they put him in the prison because it's not allowed to roam without any clothes.
Yes.
And then, because he was put in the prison cell, there are little gaps. Because he's a yogi, he made himself too small and he escaped from the prison. And again he was roaming. Again they took him. Again they put him. Again he escaped. They just could not, imprison him because he can even go through a smallest thing, because he had the yogic power that he can become smaller than an atom. So small he could become. That is one of the siddhis. And today we see, if a person gets siddhi, what does he do? He shows himself as a god. He says he's a mystic yogi and he can relieve the person. And people all go, they become their followers. They give a lot of wealth, they give a lot of gold, they give a lot of thing. And then this particular person becomes very rich materialistically. And he may get siddhi, but he, even then, there will be another person who is coming or who is exposing him. Then what happens? His, whatever his plan that he had to achieve wealth through his mystic power, that will be gone. And he will again become, agitated. His peace is gone. Right? Because somebody else, out of their mystic power, if they get more followers, then this particular person will start feeling bad. Right? YouTubers. Sometimes, some person may have good number of subscribers. There is a competitor who is doing a similar activity and they gain new subscribers. Then what happened? This particular person who has been having a very good subscription base will lose all his subscription, will lose most of his subscription, right? So then can that person be peaceful? He might have earned lot of money through his previous subscriptions. But because currently he has lost his subscriptions due to some other competition, will he be peaceful? He may have money, but he will feel pathetic, right? He has lost its fame, whatever he had. Like that we see, people have desires. Siddhis also have desires. Gyanis also have desires. And even the bhuktis, the materialistic people also have desires. But they always remain ashanti. They don't remain peaceful. This is a verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita, which Mahaprabhu says that these people who are aspiring for Kami, Siddhi, and Mukti people, they will remain they will
Not
remain
be
disturbed because of
restless, yeah.
their unfulfilled desires. But what about the devotee? A kami, a devotee, is not doing serving Krishna because of some desires. He is serving Krishna because his intention
love.
is, I want to please Krishna. My only intention is to please Krishna. He is not bothered what he or she gets out of that. So, such a devotee who is doing all the service only for the satisfaction of Krishna, for the pleasure of Krishna, such a person will remain peaceful. Because he knows everything belongs to Krishna. Nothing belongs to me. Ishavasham idam sarvam. Everything belongs to Krishna. Then when nothing is mine, why should I have an ownership? I've given this example. Like you're engaging a carpenter to make a nice furniture. You will be the person who will give wood, and you will be the person who will pay for him to do that work. And after he finishes the furniture, he says that he will take and go because he is the one who carved the furniture. Will you allow that person to take and go the furniture because he carved? Can he gain the ownership? He cannot gain the ownership because that did not belong to him. That was given to him so that he can carve it.
Enjoy.
And he can give it as a service, but he cannot take it, he cannot possess it, he cannot claim ownership for that.
So we are that carpenter.
Yeah,
actually.
we are like a carpenter. Everything, whatever is given for Krishna, we have our own quota. There is a quota given, right? Even in the government offices, everywhere, whatever is a quota allotted, that much only we can take. If there is a 33% women's quota, only 33% of the women can be given. More than that, the women cannot go in that particular quota. It is reserved. What is given, it's already reserved. So similarly, we as a human being, we are also given certain quota, how much to enjoy and what to do. And we should be within that quota. We should not encourage others' property. We see animals. Do they encourage others' property? Do you see a tiger or a lion or a deer or an elephant encroaching others' property? No. They only eat whatever they want to. They don't even save for the next day. Whatever is there for them, they eat. Once it's done, they leave. But we, the human beings, not only for our own lifetime, we ensure that at least next 7 generations or 10 generations will survive with whatever we earn. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think Ambani will be very peaceful with whatever wealth he has accumulated? No. He'll be more disturbed because every day stock markets are fluctuating, every day wealth is changing, and every day new people are becoming rich. So he is under constant pressure to keep his position. Even though he may be a very rich person, but do you think he will be peaceful?
No.
No. So we can see that all these people, because the materialistic people, because of their constant desires, and they are also trying to fulfill them. Desires comes, whether for everybody desires comes, but the difference between a Krishna conscious person and a materialistic person is he remains unaffected. Whereas a non-devotee, he becomes affected. For example, you have had a nice feast. Let's assume that you had a chappan bhog, a very nice feast. Once you're done with the feast, somebody is giving you one of your most favorite dish. Will you be able to eat?
Can't eat.
Because you're
Not in the
already
same
full.
taste.
You're already full. Not a single speck you can eat. When your stomach is completely full, will you be eating anything over and above? No. So similarly,
enjoy.
a Krishna conscious person, he is full internally. Internally, he is full. Therefore, the external desires will not
Does
affect.
not affect him.
That is the key. Desires will be coming, but because he is already happy internally, why should he get caught in the external things? You know, what is the need? I'm happy chanting and reading. If there is an IPL match going on because everybody is watching, when I don't get any happiness out of it, why should I waste my time and sit and watch the match? Instead, let me hear to some class, let me read Prabhupada's book, let me do some extra rounds of chanting, or let me prepare a nice dish and offer it to Krishna. Let me clean my puja room. So there are so many things, that we can do. We may be still affected with the IPL match that is going on. It may be finals also. It may be the most critical match also. But do you think, if somebody wins or somebody lose, if it doesn't make any impact on you, do you think that particular time that you're spending in watching the match is going to help us in any way? No. But what does a materialist person does? They will ensure, to be in the television set for 5-6 hours, and to keep all the Zomato, Swiggy, and all the apps ready. And time to time, what they do, they order food. And this is a time when we see Zomato and Swiggy people are in full run. If you see these days, you will see people are in full run. Wherever you go in the road, you see more of Swiggy and Zomato people, because they're all serving these people. Because while they are watching, they would like to eat. They would like to enjoy their senses, right? Completely enjoyment. One seeing, another is eating. And they also give an ad like that, right? While you're watching cricket, IPL, munch with your dish, whatever dish you like, right? So this is the thing. So this ad, we also see, they also see. So the desires are there, but we remain unaffected, but they become affected. And because a materialist person is affected by desires, he cannot remain peaceful. Because the moment you fulfill one desire, another desire comes. An unfulfilled desire becomes anger, which we saw previously also. Right? So here again, Krishna has given a very beautiful analogy of an ocean. So we can see in this particular chapter, Krishna has given very beautiful analogy. Mataji, please read. Uma Mataji, analogy of an ocean. Yes.
Okay. Analogy of an ocean. Although the vast ocean is always filled with water, it is always, especially during the rainy season, being filled with much more water. But the ocean remains the same, steady. It is not agitated, nor does it cross beyond the limit of its brink.
We see in the rainy season, the ocean receives a lot of water, because the river receives a lot of water in the rainy season, and the river goes to the ocean. And then, in spite of that, we don't see the ocean getting agitated. We see the Arabian Ocean, right? We see in Mumbai. Do we see that during the rainy season, the ocean is getting agitated? No. It has its own limit, right? The beaches, if you go, it has its own limit. It does not cross its limit, right? So the ocean remains steady. So similarly, a Krishna conscious person is like an ocean. He is so deep inside, he is so fulfilled that he is not affected by the external things.
How does a Krishna conscious person handles desire? This is also true of a person fixed in Krishna consciousness. As long as one has the material body, the demands of the body for sense gratification will continue. The devotee, however, is not disturbed by such desires because of his fullness. A Krishna conscious man is not in need of anything because the Lord fulfills all his material necessities. Therefore, he is like the ocean, always full in himself. Desires may come to him like the waters of the river that flow into the ocean, but he is steady in his activities and he is not even slightly disturbed by desires for sense gratification.
So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita 9th chapter, Ananya Chintayanto Mam Yejana Paryupasate Tesham Nitya Viyuktanam Yogakshemam Vayamyaham. For the Ananya Bhaktas, Krishna fulfills all our desires, all our needs. Whatever we have, he retains and he gives us everything. Yogakshemam, Shemam, he is a well-wisher. He gives everything. He preserves what we have and he takes away what we lack. So everything Krishna is fulfilling for a devotee. So when a devotee is conscious of the fact that Krishna will fulfill all his desires, then why will he get disturbed? A devotee may not be very rich. He may be a very humble person, but he will not spend more time. He will not work overtime so that he can earn more money. And because of that, if he may do that, but then what he will lack, he cannot do bhakti. We see many devotees in the temple, especially the male devotees, the Prabhujis. From Monday to Friday, they are all working in the offices. And Saturday, Sunday, they are all in the temple serving. They are serving for prashadam, they are doing book distributions, they are preaching to some people. If you see that, how they are doing, because they can do something, they can overwork on Saturday and Sunday. If you have extra time, what does a materialist person thinks? Maybe I will do little more work. I will do some consultation for somebody else so that I can earn some additional money and I can, move to even a better property than where I am living. But a Krishna conscious person knows that Krishna will fulfill all his material desires. So he doesn't work very hard to fulfill them, or neither he becomes agitated, because sometimes a devotee, because of his previous punya karma, he has given a lot of nice things, lot of beautiful bungalow or a beautiful house and all the nice material facilities. But a devotee is not affected by those material facilities. A devotee may have an Audi car. A devotee may live in a nice penthouse. But a devotee knows that these are all coming because of the past karma. So the devotee will not, oh, now I am living in a penthouse, you're a great person in the society. Many people will call such people. If you're a prominent person, you're invited by many people and you're so, and he will not get into the material pool living his devotion. Because he knows that everything happens by our own karma. Past karma is good, you enjoy more material opulence. If past karma is bad, then you may not enjoy a lot of material opulence. But anyway, good or bad, nothing is going to be permanent. Everything is going to be temporary. That's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. This material world is dukh alayam ashashvatam. It's a dukkha alay hai, and ashashvat means everything is temporary.
Which is not
Even
permanent.
if a person is enjoying a great material opulence in this particular world, that is also not going to last forever. Therefore, he remained incessant. He remained undisturbed by such material desires. Another example, we saw a very simple example is if we are already, if our stomach is full, even if somebody is giving the most favorite dish that we like, we will not eat because our stomach is already full. Therefore, a person who is completely fixed in Krishna conscious, in serving Krishna, he will not be affected. Even if he has a desire to eat a gulab jamun, rasgulla, he will make it, offer it to Krishna, and you can have it as a prasad. Okay. Yes, Mataji.
Krishna conscious person fully satisfied in the transcendental loving service. That is the proof of a Krishna conscious person, one who has lost all inclinations for the material sense gratification, although the desires are present. Because he remains satisfied in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, he can remain steady like the ocean and therefore enjoy full peace.
So we already discussed this, because because he is completely satisfied in the service of the God, because when we serve Krishna, we are also getting some pleasure. Right? It's not that hum ro ke jap nahi karte. Are we crying and doing the japa? No. When we chant, that's what in the 9th chapter Krishna says that susukam kartum abhyayam. Devotional service is performed very joyfully. When we do devotion, we are also getting some joy. Because Krishna, we are in touch with the all joyful person. Krishna is a supreme personality. When we are in touch with the all joyful person, we will also remain joyful. How will we become morose? If a person is morose and also Krishna conscious, then it doesn't go together, right? There cannot be fire and water together. Can the fire and water coexist? So similarly, moroseness and Krishna consciousness cannot coexist with each other. If a person is morose and if he says he is Krishna conscious, maybe he is just externally Krishna conscious. He is not chanting properly. or he is not serving Krishna properly, therefore that particular person has not obtained that particular pleasure. He is completely full and he will lose all the inclination for material gratification. Whatever a desire earlier the person had for enjoying the material senses, like, shopping, doing this, eating out and everything, all those desires goes away because the desire is now in serving Krishna. Okay. Yes, Mataji?
Position of a materialistic person. Others, however, who want to fulfill desires even up to the limit of liberation, want to speak of material success, never attain peace. The fruitive, the futive, no, the fruitive
Workers.
workers, the salvationists, and also the yogis who are after mystic powers are all hanape because of unfulfilled desires.
We just saw that because Kami, Buddhi
Overtake.
Kami, Mukti Kami, and Moksha Kami, they are all having unfulfilled desires. Even in Bhagavatam, there is a description that a person who attains impersonal liberation, who becomes the merge with Brahma Jyoti, Aru Rukshega Parampadam, he can fall down because there is no activity. We need activity. The soul desires activity, right? Without activity, the soul becomes, because the soul is all Anandamayopyasa. It's a part and parcel of Krishna. Even for us, we may feel happy not doing any activity for 1 or 2 days. But if somebody leaves you forever not doing anything, just remain peaceful, can we remain? Serving, we need to serving is the very nature of the soul. So just remaining peaceful in Brahma Jyoti, the soul may not be happy and the soul may fall down into the material world. So this is a Bhukti Kami we know, and Siddhi Kami we know. Siddhis also have lot of desires. They attain Siddhis so that they can gain the popularity.
More power.
Yeah. That's what Prabhupada said. Somebody did 12 years of tapasya so that he can walk over the water. What is the use of that tapasya? If he gives 1 rupee, those days to cross the boat, it is 1 rupee. He can cross the shore and go to other side. Just to save that 1 rupee, why somebody has to spend 12 years of their life? Is it a good thing?
Happened in Prayagraj, Mataji, with Prabhupada. He saw one yogi there, and he said, I can walk over the Sangam.
Water. Yeah.
Yes. So Prabhupada said, it's very easy. I can also go through boat. Why we have to waste so many years?
Yeah, 1 rupee those days to
Just
cross,
1 rupee those
which we
days.
spent 200 rupees now. That is 1 rupee those days. So that's what, if you say 1 rupee, why you wasted 12 years of your life, right? So what does a mystic yogi gets? Nothing. But if that 12 years, if that person would have invested in Krishna consciousness, he would be completely satisfied and happy, right? Go ahead, Mataji.
Krishna conscious person not disturbed by any desires, but the person of Krishna consciousness is happy in the service of the Lord and he has no desires to be fulfilled. In fact, he does not even desire liberation from the so-called material bondage. The devotees of Krishna have to have no material desires and therefore they are in perfect peace.
So a devotee is not even looking for liberation.
Yeah.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Sishtastakam said, Mama Janmani Sute Bhavatat Bhakti Rahetuki. Life after life, let me just serve you. A devotee is not doing devotion because he will get mukti. A devotee is doing devotion so that Krishna is happy. So he is not having any desire, not even the liberation. And in fact, there is a saying that, out of the 5 kinds of liberation, the Sayujya, the merging with the Supreme Lord, for a devotee, it is worse than a suicide. It's like a suicide. Because what does he do? He thinks himself a servant of Krishna, and becoming one with Krishna is worse than a suicide. How can I think of becoming God when I'm a servant of the God, right? So that is the thing. The devotee does not see. Since he has no material desires, he is in perfect peace. So we can see after we are practicing, we are in Krishna conscious, after coming in Krishna consciousness and after practicing, I think comparatively, most of our desires have come down, at least. If it has not gone completely, but at least it has come down. But aren't we more peaceful now than before? where we were
Yes, Mataji.
buying
Yes.
more clothes, where we are
Agree.
buying more things for the house, where we are trying to watch more movies, where we were trying to go out and with the friends and doing this, that. Aren't we more happy now?
Yeah.
Right? So this is, we can see that it's practically, we can see happening in our own lives, because all these things are mainly because of service to Krishna. And how do we serve Krishna? The Navaviva Bhakti. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu,
Kirtanam.
Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma, Nivedanam. Shravanam by hearing, Kirtanam by chanting, Smaranam by remembering, Pada Sevanam by serving his lotus feet, Archanam by doing puja,
Puja.
Vandanam by prayers, Dasyam
Praise.
by becoming his servant, Sakyam
Servant
by
of
becoming his friend, Atma Nivedanam by complete surrender.
surrender
So,
to
out
Krishna.
of these 9 limbs of devotion, even if one particular limb, if one does Shravanam very nicely, even that can take him home back to God.
Yeah.
And that can give
Correct.
love for Krishna. At least one of the 9 angas we should do. And we are more focused in Shravanam Kirtanam. The more we hear, the more we
The
chant,
more.
Smaranam will automatically happen.
Come.
And in this particular world where we are living, where the time is a constraint, most of us have to work, most of us has many things to do. Krishna consciousness is not inertness. We see devotees are working from Monday to Friday, and then they are serving Krishna and they are still happy. They did not retire from the family people and leave the child and the wife. You take care of their life. I am done with this material world. Let me go to Himalayas. Does a devotee do that? No, he knows he has a responsibility of taking care of the family. He's not running out of the responsibility, right? But a devotee stays with the responsibility, but he knows that connection with Krishna. He just considers himself to be an instrument in the service of Krishna. Then he remains peaceful by doing all the materialistic activities also. It looks materialistic, the activity, but the consciousness is different, right? Like Mataji, like previously also you were traveling in the train. Now also you're traveling in the train. But
The difference
previously
is
you
that.
were more disturbed because your consciousness was, how do I reach office on time? What in case I'm late? This, that. Now also you're going, but now you're utilizing your time in chanting and now you're more peaceful. The journey was the same. But because your
Correct.
consciousness changed, you're unaffected by this train journey, right? So we can
Correct,
see in our
Mataji.
own practical life how we, Krishna consciousness has changed our lives, right? So a
Yeah, but
man
he
is,
helps you also, Mataji.
yes, Mataji?
Bhagwan also helps you also
Definitely,
to,
he helps. He is the one who
ha,
works. Yeah,
because he helps you to also remember. So everything
correct.
happens because he's
His
helping me.
mercy. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And you're also serving. Krishna reciprocates. He says, Ye yatamam prapadyante tam sataiva bhajamyaham. To the extent you serve Krishna, to that extent he reciprocates. So Krishna is very much reciprocal. And his reciprocation is, even we keep one step to Krishna, Krishna keeps 10
And
steps to us. Because we serve Krishna to our capacity. And when Krishna gives back, he does by his capacity.
That is more,
And
yeah.
his capacity is
10
much more
times
than
as much.
our capacity. Even though it looks like a reciprocation, but his reciprocation is not like a small reciprocation, right? Like even if a servant, let us see, a servant thinks, it is a Diwali. I also want to give some gift to my owner. So the servant is bringing a small sweet box of 100 rupees. Then the master of the house is so happy. The servant, in spite of his economic condition, has given me this. So what is the master will serve the servant? He will give
He
a
will give
nice
you more,
sari, a nice dress,
correct
like
clothes. Yeah.
something like 5,000 rupees or
Yeah.
10,000 rupees.
Yeah.
Because he will serve here out of his capacity.
Yeah.
And that person serve out of his capacity. So, but because both of our capacities are different, but reciprocation is always there. So when Krishna reciprocates, it is definitely much more than what we do to him, right? So we see a living entity. As long as we have a material body, the demand of the body, the sense gratification will continue. It can't be stopped. But a devotee engages the senses in the service of the Lord, and by doing so, he is fully satisfied by the transcendental loving service. And by engaging in the transcendental loving service, The devotee is not disturbed by such desires. So, and the analogy is a living entity is like an ocean. So, although the desires flows in, the devotee remains unaffected and he remains perfectly peaceful. And what about a materialistic person who engages in senses and sense gratification? And that will become unfulfilled desires, and unfulfilled desires will not give peace. That will agitate the mind and that will take out the peace. Can you see that? Otherwise, desires are always there, even. But a devotee remains unaffected because his mind and his consciousness is how I can serve Krishna. Therefore, he remains unaffected by desires. I think this picture is explaining that. How he is internally fulfilling, though external desires are coming. Yes, Mataji? Can you see in the screen? Hare Krishna?
Yes.
It's visible, right? Okay.
Serving Krishna, we are peaceful.
Yeah, even though desires are coming from all the directions, it will keep coming. You can't stop it, but a devotee remains unaffected. Okay. So we will just do a short summary of the verse from 56 to 70. Shweta Mataji, would you like to read this?
Yes. Krishna systematically describes the transformation of a person from instability to complete inner steadiness. A spiritually mature person is not disturbed by distress nor elated by happiness and remains free from attachment, fear, and anger. He is unaffected by the dualities of life because his stability comes from within, not from external situations. This steadiness begins with controlling the senses, but real control is not achieved by suppression. It comes by developing a higher taste in Krishna consciousness, by which lower desires naturally fade. Since the senses are very powerful and can disturb even great personalities, the only effective solution is to fix the mind on Krishna and engage all the senses in his service. If the mind is not engaged in him, it will dwell on sense objects and lead to a gradual downfall.
This is very important. You may not fall down immediately. You may fall down gradually, which you will not even understand, right? That's what happens. Yeah.
From contemplation to attachment, desire, anger, delusion, loss of memory, destruction of intelligence, and finally complete fall down. Therefore, instead of artificially rejecting the world, one should use everything in Krishna's service, remaining unaffected by attachment and aversion.
Yeah. Continue, Mataji.
Yeah. A devotee may appear to interact with sense objects, but because he acts only for Krishna's satisfaction, he remains untouched. And by the causeless mercy of the Lord, all miseries are destroyed. The mind becomes peaceful and intelligence becomes steady. Without this connection, there can be no peace or happiness, as the mind lacks a true and ultimate goal. Even one controlled sense can disturb the entire consciousness. So all senses must be engaged in Krishna's service under proper guidance, not by force, but higher engagement.
So this is very important. We can only curb the senses by engaging in Krishna's senses. We cannot artificially curb the senses.
Yeah.
But by utilizing the senses in higher engagement in Krishna's service, then the senses automatically gets in control. Go ahead, Shweta Mataji.
In this state, the devotee becomes spiritually awake while others remain absorbed in material illusion, seeing reality from a completely different perspective. Finally, like the ocean that remains full and undisturbed despite the constant flow of rivers, the Krishna conscious person remains steady even when desire arises, because he is fully satisfied in the loving service of the Lord. Thus, the essence of this entire section is that by fixing the mind on Krishna, engaging all senses in his service, and living to please him, one attains true peace, stability, and lasting happiness, becoming completely undisturbed in all circumstances.
So was it a good summary that helped you to
Yeah.
understand all
Super.
these slokas?
Yeah.
Raji? So it is very important. The key thing is to engage our senses in the service of Krishna.
Krishna.
That is the most important thing is whatever we do it for the pleasure of Krishna. Then our senses automatically gets into control. Okay, any questions from these section?
No, Mataji.
Okay. So are we all now somewhere there? We can just check ourselves how much we are able to
Yeah.
control our senses
Exactly.
and
That
how
is what
we
I
can
was
control
thinking
our
for my
senses.
own
Now it
self.
is for,
Yes.
we can examine our own self, where we are. You know, after reading, hearing
Yeah.
from all the slokas, what Krishna said, we need to contemplate on it, right?
Yeah.
So there may be some change which has happened in our life because of some service to Krishna. Imagine because of little service, some change has happened. If we serve more, then we will be more happy and more peaceful. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Even by doing little, Krishna is reciprocating. What in case if we are completely giving ourselves to Krishna, if we are completely engaging ourselves in the service of Krishna, then Krishna will keep us happy and peaceful. Okay, we'll do the pranam, right? We need protection, yeah. And especially when you go out of the home, whenever you go, either chant Narsimha Pranam mantra or Ugram Viram at least. Even anytime I just get out of the home, I step out of the home by walking or by, especially when I go by two-wheeler or four-wheeler, I chant the Narsimha Pranam mantra and then only.
And then leaves.
Because,
Yeah.
you know, there's a lot of vipatti when you are going there. We should do Narsimha prayers when we step the home anytime. Okay. And we should also teach our children also do that because he is a lot of protection. Yeah. So thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you.
Kripa
Krishna
sindhu
Kripa Sindhu Yevicha
Patitana
Patitanam
Pavanebhyo
Pavinebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo Namo
Vaishnavebhyo
Namaha
Namo Namo.
Ananta Koti
Ananta
Vaishnav
Kodi
Vrinda
Vaishnav
Ki
Ki
Jai
Jai.
Srila
Shri
Prabhupada
Prabhupada
Ki
Ki
Jai
Jai. Bhagavad Gita as it is.
Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you
Hare
so much
Krishna
for all
Mataji.
your
Thank you
time.
very much.
I'm sure
Thank you for the class.
at least I'm happy that it's all helping you all. Such these classes is helping you all. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thanks for your
Hare
time,
Krishna.
Mataji. Hare
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.